Boy, I gotta tell y'all, I enjoy watching a lot of the, conversations around Xbox's business and then going back to look at the clock and the calendar and going, hmm, how did nobody see this? Now, this clip surfaced from Icon Era. I don't know who I clicked it from, somewhere on Twitter. Somewhere on Twitter, I click this, it's an Icon Era thing. Then I click Icon Era, it's a post thing. Then I click here, it's a little Darko. And then I'm like, oh, okay, it's Insider Gaming. What's being said here? To be honest, there's going to be a lot of context being put out here. However, Oliver Darko says this. He says Gaming Insider, Tom Henderson, thinks the next Xbox is going to be Microsoft's last console hardware. Then puts a quote around this. The writing is on the wall. This is it. Now, someone said, I thought this generation was supposed to be the last or the last generation. You quote like this hasn't been said for decades. This logical error in your life user, that's the name of their Twitter account. If you're listening, I'm not making this stuff up, replied this. And Oliver Darko said, you just confirmed you didn't watch the video with the laughing emoji. And then they said, why would I if you mentioned the person's main point? And I guess I expanded what he said unknowingly. So the conversation about Xbox's next generation of hardware is under question every single time, apparently. In fact, I saw a tweet yesterday that had me running to Chat GPT to find the original articles that must have said that. And I found articles yesterday, actually, that claimed that the Xbox One was going to be Microsoft's last console. I kid you not. Let me show you. And by the way, AI information can be quite damning because these things could hallucinate, but I wanted it to crawl the internet and I didn't want to bother doing all that work. And here I am in August 29th, 2013 with an article that says from The Escapist, Xbox One could be Microsoft's last console. Then another one from Silicon Republic, March 2016, asking, could the Xbox One be Microsoft's last console? Tech giant plots upgradable future. Then another one from Digital Trends. The Xbox One could be the last generational console from Microsoft. Guys and girls, if this is not a conspiracy, I don't know what else I'm going to tag it as. Maybe I'm just overreacting. And we have not even listened to the clip. Now, let's listen to the clip, okay? Let's hear what Tom Henderson is saying.
And everyone would be like, oh, okay. And that's it. We'd all move on. That's about it, really. So,
I mean, yeah, because they'll have the PlayStation to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they'll release their games over there and it's fine. Oh, new Halo's coming out. Yeah, I'll get it on PlayStation 5. You know?
Oh, it just sounds so weird, man. Halo on PlayStation. What the hell?
Tom, how long do you think until we hit the point where Xbox just jumps out of the console war and then we have just, or what came to my mind is they just have a streaming box and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, we know they're going to do one more console generation, right? And then I think that's it. It's done. They don't need to put all of the time and investment into an Xbox console, right? But yeah,
we all thought, not we all, but there are a lot of people that thought the PS4
looks like this video was cut by Oliver Darko. Did you guys see there's like a brief cut? So there may be some context that he probably, might be missing here, or maybe there was just something that just wasn't, pertinent to the conversation and he cut right to it. But I'm going by this clip. Just wanting to make sure that y'all heard what I heard there, or maybe it's just something that glitched.
Was the last one, PS4, Xbox One era. They're like, oh, there's no more after this. Or this that we're currently in PS4. This is going to be the last one. I feel like every generation we hit that, this will be the last.
I don't know. Like, now more than ever, though, I feel like the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Just with the way that the direction has been these past 2 years and how fast their strategies seemingly changed from the public eye. I mean, like right from the top level, we don't have too much insight. There is leaks and rumors and all that kind of good stuff, but typically they do come down from a lower level. So we don't necessarily know, or maybe we do, but for the most part, I would argue that we don't know.
So I'm curious to what Tom Henderson said. How fast did their strategy change? Like, did Xbox just wake up overnight and then just flip the switch and somewhere, somehow, and this is all based on exclusivity. I mean, did you guys heard the gentleman say people want to play Halo, they just buy it on PS5, So what's the point of buying an Xbox, right? Do y'all remember that comment that was made earlier in the video? I just want to make sure that you caught that comment, because this is based on, okay, well, they don't have exclusivity, so they're going to basically exit the console market. Do you know what's missing in all of this, ladies and gentlemen? Do you really know what grinds the gears of this conversation that makes me kind of say, I enjoy listening to this, and then I got to go look at the calendar? It's the fact that Xbox is actually pushing 10 years of putting their games outside of their console. 2006, bruh, we are in 2025. We are in 2025. 2025. 2025. Do you hear? Are you guys listening to me? I'm literally trying to point the years. The year of our Lord, 2025. And Xbox went day and date with its first game outside of its console, that it had basically its walled garden, and it made that leap and that jump 9 years ago. 9 years ago. So at this time, anybody who did not stand on business to predict the end of the console and actually put their money on it cannot turn around now and say, because the expansion of their, software is becoming more prevalent, they're going to do the thing that we thought they were going to do back then. You know what's crazy is, when you look at these 3 articles that were written at 3 different times, right? Well, 2 around the same time, 2016, but one March, one August, the other one 2013. They all have their reasons. Check this out. Reason number 1 from the 2013 article. With CEO Steve Ballmer's exit, the company could either focus on hardware or business software. Okay, depending on the Xbox One's performance and the new direction Microsoft takes under a new CEO, the console could be the company's last attempt at gaming hardware. This is before Satya Nadella came in. I think this is a possibility. DFC intelligence analyst David Cole told Games Industry International, "We've always wondered how long Microsoft will stay with the game hardware business. Their strategy for Xbox One clearly looks like it will not be a success on a grand scale." Hey, Dante, comment section, you're always there telling us how because they went out of exclusivity, their console sales went down. Are you listening to what analysts were saying in 2013 about their consoles? Have we not been telling you that their console sales were already in the pooper years before they even basically made the decision to go third party? Because of what the TV guy did at the onset and the launch and the price and the freaking Connect and all of those things that were coupled together that basically tanked them? Y'all want to rewrite history, and I got to look at the calendar and call every single one of you. Can you imagine one article from 2013 taking a broom and sweeping all of these claims into the dirt bag? Independent analyst Billy Pigeon disagreed, saying those looking at Microsoft with a high-level perspective as part of the general technology ecosystem have a tendency to think of Xbox strictly as a hardware business. Oh, well, Billy Pigeon, it seemed like you were probably thinking further than the zeitgeist. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft have all had and still have trouble marketing their game hardware. Regardless of the success or lack of success for the Xbox One, Microsoft's consoles add to a market in consumer software. In addition, Microsoft is ahead of other companies such as Apple and Google in the games market, and leaving that market could harm Microsoft. However, with the new CEO, it's possible that Microsoft would compete these two companies more in the mobile games market. Interesting how they thought back then. Asif Khan, CEO of Panoptic Management Consultants, pointed that Xbox is not what brings home the donuts for Microsoft. The Xbox One may be a tricky move for Microsoft to profit on long run, but completely leaving the gaming business would be a strange move. Even though the article basically was asking or actually positing this possibility, the analysts were like, it doesn't make any sense. Not saying analysts are always correct. Article number 2. Could the Xbox One be Microsoft's last console? The tech giant plots upgradable future, written 9 years ago, 1st March 2016. The head of Xbox and Microsoft, Phil Spencer, has envisioned a future where the Xbox One will receive upgrades that would see it run like a PC to make all games playable rather than release a new generation of consoles. Do you hear the Dark Phil? Guys, so I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that the Xbox console transcends the next 20 years. But Dark Phil, how are we going to pull that off? Well, it's easy. All we have to do is get Xbox to a point where it's basically Windows. So Darkfield, do you mean that, we just launch a box of Windows? No. It'll be hard for people to kind of wrap their minds around it. But you never know. Things are changing. 2016, this year alone, the data shows that the PC gaming industry is growing by leaps and bounds. There's a small cat, a small YouTuber. His name is the Gamer Dad or Gamey Daddy, whatever the heck he calls himself. He's making this video that Spider-Man needs to go to PC. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who that is, that's like, my other YouTube channel where I was making this video that, the PC market was growing, blah, blah, blah. I think I made that video in 2018. But, I just got to insert self in here. And seeing this trend, it makes sense that we basically make a PC. But Darkfield, we already did R&D for the other consoles, and they're not necessarily going to be Windows. Add a dev mode. Okay, that might basically help, get us in the pathway. It's probably too late now to go full on Windows. All of that compatibility, support, it just may not work. All right, Darkfield. And so they launched the series consoles. This article says, in his Xbox Spring Showcase, Spencer details his views on the future of Xbox hardware innovation and that Microsoft will align Windows 10 and Xbox One development activities under the Universal Windows platform, while offering backward compatibility for the Xbox 360 games now playable on Xbox One. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to this. Let's finish it up. Let's hear what the rest of it is saying.
Along the strategy has been in place. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like now more than ever the writing's on the wall. But who knows?
We also have the rumors of, and who knows how accurate it is, but Microsoft talking with Valve about some sort of Steam integration. I'm not saying I couldn't imagine.
Microsoft talking with Valve, them wanting to integrate the Windows 10 operating system with Xbox, probably having to hold off because R&D had gone too far in. Windows 10 was probably going to be phasing out at some point, probably knew about those plans on the inside. Maybe it wasn't a smart choice to make. I don't know, man. Nobody tells me these things, man. And I'm not interested in being privy to a lot of these inner workings because these things change so much. All I'm concerned about is seeing how they pan out. And boy, I tell you what, the way these things have been panning out, it's interesting that the gaming industry and the, overall conversation is not paying attention to the fact that Xbox needs its own brand name hardware because that is a significant piece of what Xbox is. It doesn't matter whether they sell 20 units or 20 million units or 20,000 units or 2 million units or whatever it is. It is a thing. You know what I mean? It's a thing. And they don't seem like they're going to give it up. So I don't know why anybody is thinking that they're going to do so. Why would they do that? And we haven't even talked about the money that the consoles generate so far. Billions of dollars. Why would a company want to do that? Why would they want to do that? Tell me. It's not like, when it's not like when Ford said they didn't want to make sedans anymore. Right? When Ford were like, oh, yeah, we're not going to make, sedans or something like that, And then all of a sudden, it seems like that thing has now started, it started to change, right? Because there's money there. I don't know why they decided that they weren't going to do it. Or something is happening somewhere. Or the F-150 is their most, probably their most sold vehicle. So, right? Just imagine Ford saying they didn't want to sell the F-150 anymore. Huh. And even with the talk about the sedan, there's still rumors. Check it out. Do you see that? That's all that talk. Maybe it was a Focus sedan they weren't going to be making anymore. But anyways, I'll get out of here. The kids are yelling outside. I'm going to go join and play some soccer. Peace out.